This translation appeared in editions in 1650, 1651, 1652. The last two editions included an appendix in which Wall exchanged views with the reader and emphasized the millenarian importance of his work. Again, these are people that thought the world was ending in the 1600s. Some say it was the second coming of JC around that time. Some say 1666, 1655. Some say it was the climax of their world at that time. Like, what does all that mean? But now you're like, you got to get, sometimes if you want to get a little deeper in the mind of a hijack, these are the type of discussions you're going to, have, man. What is a millenarian? Now it says, and that it should help bring the conversion of the Jews. And I'm thinking, like, when in history have you heard about the Jewish people being forced converted to Christianity? Even in the worst of what they, talk about their history and all that, you know, conversion to Christianity ain't really part of it. Or else you'll see a bunch of Jewish people in all these Christian churches. You'll see a church filled with Jewish people that have been forced converted. In their neighborhoods, you'll see Christian churches all over the place. Like, that forced conversion never happened. But these Jews we're talking about, these Hebrews we're talking about, have been converted to Christianity. You go to the Hebrew ghettos, Negro ghettos today, you're going to see the evidence, the proof of the forced conversion of this generational mentality, brainwashing. Only takes a couple generations, man, and pretty soon you can't let it go. You can't let it go, right? So this is what we're dealing with today. So when you talk about the conversion of Jews to Christianity, and then you're talking about the conversion of these, Indians to Christianity, right? That lines up. Think about the three groups that have been converted to Christianity at the highest rate, all right, in real time. You got the Indians, you got black people, right? Negroes, right? Indians and Negroes seem to be synonymous with conversion to Christianity. And then, according to this document here, Manasseh ben Israel in his world, Manasseh ben Israel in his world, man, popping off. You got these Hebrews that are being meditated on, to be converted. They're trying to figure out how to convert Hebrews to Christianity, and they're linking them up with the Indians, and they're linking them up with so-called black people. So, it's a body bag for the illusion. They're talking about the two greatest questions they have is what? What became of the tribes of Israel, and where did the Indians come from? So they're clearly linking Israelites with Indians. And no matter how many times we talk about that, how many years we've been talking about this, it never gets old, because it's mind blasting to think about Israelites being American Indians, so-called, right? And both being converted to Christianity. And this American Holocaust and this genocide on our people and this invasion of these American Indians is synonymous now with these tribes of Israel, based on our recon, a lot of other researchers' recon, all these books in the 1600s, 1700s, all the great work from, Drop Nation, man. We see clearly. So all you got to do is link in the Negro factor, to the Israelite factor, the Negro factor to the American Indian factor, and you have the continuation, whether we're talking about, civil rights, Black Panther Party, all the situations, man, popping off right here at home in America, man. But those are the two greatest questions, man. It says, Winslow said that there are two great questions which have troubled ancient and modern writers and men of the greatest depth and ability, the geniuses in this stuff, right? What happened to these tribes of Israel? They say 10 tribes, 12 tribes, 13 tribes. What happened to the Israelites? I'm asking you, because I can't brush over this. This is the greatest question. These are the greatest questions that are troubling. And they're calling this a crisis. The Indian problem, they're calling it a problem. it's affecting, it's troubling men of the greatest depth, the greatest intelligence, the greatest academic abilities. What happened to the Israelites? What happened? Should we stop, with Shalmaneser or Nebuchadnezzar, what I'm saying, leading, Israelites off to Babylonian captivity? Should we pick it right up with the David Soslan flow, King David of Babylon and Georgia and all that? Should we talk more Georgia flow, as we get into Prester John 1:24 next, man? Look out for us, man. So, what happened to the Israelites? Where did these Nagas come from? Since we know that they're the same people. Did they migrate from Africa like they try to tell us all black people come from, right? Were they already here in the Americas? Did they migrate from lands in the Pacific or other lands, that are now sunken beneath the water pre-Atlantis? You know what I'm saying? These are great questions. We don't purport to have all the answers, but we will ask the right questions. And clearly they're the right questions if these are the two greatest questions that have troubled ancient and modern writers. Shout out to Richard H. Popkin, man. Popping off. All right, again, last time we were discussing James Adair. And again, Cootie Mayo done some extensive work. Love to Cootie Mayo. Make sure you're in his classroom. He brought out some great James Adair drop, connecting with the views of the Hebrews. Let's see, published his History of American Indians in London, 1775. Adair has been trading with the Indians in the South English colonies of America for 40 years. In his work, he offered detailed linguistic, cultural, social, and historical evidence that the Indians were Hebrews. We're not talking Jewish. Ish means kind of like, right? Are you smart or are you smart-ish? Are you strong or are you strong-ish? Are you Hebrew or Hebrew-ish? I mean, you decide. Are you a code keeper or do you keep the code-ish? You know what I mean? The historical evidence that the Indians were Hebrews, because the Jewish are not talking about being no Indians. When's the last time the Jewish had a conference about being Indians and how America owes them all their gold back and they want to get their land back in America? Huh? No, right. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about being converted to Christianity. So when you make a correlation between Indians and Jews, you're not talking Jewish, because these Jewish were not converted to Christianity. You're talking Hebrews. You're talking Negroes. I'm talking about you. And Adair got the historical evidence. He got the recon and the receipts that these indigenous Nagas in America are Hebrew. Kalelus. Based on his close observation of their speech and practices. So, getting down here, it says, then Adair contended that from his most exact observations he made over 40 years, that the Indians lineally descended from Israelites. All right, that's not Jewish. The Jewish don't call themselves Israelites, do they? His evidence of the Hebrew characteristics of the Indians went on for 400s of pages. At the time, Adair's evidence was taken most seriously by American historians. They weren't playing like Hannah Adams, who wrote an important history of the Jews and appended some of Adair's text. Manasseh's Hope of Israel was reissued. Some of the religious thinkers involved in the American Revolution saw Adair's findings as justification for the provincial interpretation of what was happening in the colonies. Charles Crawford, an English nobleman who had moved to America and who became an important abolitionist and millenarian. They thought the world was ending in 1600s. They thought JC was coming back for the second coming in 1666. Saw America's role as that of bringing about final providential events. Now, they keep saying providence. Let's go to the dictionary right quick. And I just want to get clarity of providence. We know it has something to do with God, right? Creator, right? Providence. Providence. Okay. How do you spell Providence? Man, hold on, man. My bad. I didn't pass the spelling, man. I didn't pass the spelling. I think I came in second place one time. Providential. Let me get that right. Provi. Okay, somebody should have said that. Why do y'all say that? I can't be the only one spelling stuff. Can't be the only one spelling stuff. Let's go. The act of providing or preparing for future use or application. All right, so it has to do with the future, like prophecy. Providence for war is the best prevention of it. Foresight, timely care, particularly active foresight. It's got a lot to do with prophecy, huh? In theology, the care and superintendence which HaWah exercises over his creatures. What? The care that the care HaWah exercises over his creatures, the superintendence, the supervision. He that acknowledges a creation and denies a providence involves himself in palpable contradiction. Because if there's a creator, then somebody's watching over you, caring for you, supervising you, right? Some people don't want to be supervised. They just want to be lawless. They don't want no code. They don't want no parents saying, "Don't eat that crap. Eat chips all day." They just want to eat, Skittles all day, right? They don't want no supervision. They don't want no accountabilities. He that acknowledges a creation or creator and denies providence involves himself in palpable contradiction. For the same power which causes a thing to exist is necessary to continue its existence. Okay. Divine providence is often understood God himself. By divine providence is also often understood God himself. So when they talk divine providence, they're talking HaWah. Got it. Let's go. Okay. Okay. So America's role as being that of bringing about the final providential or foresight, prophetic HaWah's prophecy events before the millennium. And again, for them, we're talking about their 1,000 years, however we interpret it, the freeing of slaves. Now, and try to factor in Hebrews instead of Jewish people, and the freeing of slaves is supposed to happen before the Creator, before these events prophesied through these prophets, through the Creator, right? So the freeing of slaves, the freeing of black people, let's say that for now, okay? The finding of the lost tribes and the conversion of the Jews, the finding of you Nagas in America is supposed to happen before the end of days. And the conversion of the Jews. Now, this is where they're in Hijack City because they have their own interpretation of what conversion and what you're converting to. To them, it means converting you to JC, right? To us, it might mean converting us away from the hijack. Perhaps the finding of us, in our sad state of disregard and our idolatries and out of coldness. Perhaps we will be getting back in code, right? That reminds me of Hosea 3. Israel will return, seek the Creator, and Kandawi. You returning is you converting, not to the hijack, but to the code, back to HaWah, back to your direct flow. That's just perspective, but more significant. Crawford indicated was that a rabbi who converted to Christianity came to Philadelphia to live with lost tribe Indians. The lost tribe Indians, you don't see that all the time. The lost tribe of Indians, we're talking Jewish or we're talking Hebrew, to prepare to lead them to Jerusalem. Apparently, the converted rabbi gave up and became a Catholic official instead. So they have their perspective of what a conversion is. They have the perspective of this foresight, this prophecy, and it doesn't really add up because they're substituting, syncretizing, fusing stuff together that don't belong together. They're changing our images. They are, their lie is so deep that their prophecies never will add up because they're substituting themselves into all these roles. They're calling themselves these Jews. They're calling themselves and these Indians. Today, a Native American looks like them. Today, the Jewish, the Jews, the Hebrews look like them, right? All this is now, we're now just black from Africa. That's it. We African American. We lost our Indian superiority. We're no longer the head and not the tail. Let's get a little more before we get in this code. The good dragon. Who's calling him the good dragon? And what does the dragon got to do with the center of the world? It's crazy talk. Hey, free Phineas, man. Free Phineas, man. Just pieces that we got last time, just belly flopping. Then Budunat wrote The Star in the West. And we got that before, pointing out that the Indians and lost tribes would lead the way into the millennium by returning to Jerusalem. So again, you are returning. You're returning. Don't it say that in Hosea? Hosea 3, after you've been this adulterous, man. I mean, the children of Israel love baking raisin cakes, man. Shout out to Yosef the Real. We about to do a listen party, man. Been long awaited. The Yosef the Real album is dropping. He's giving it to the tribe from the hardball. One of his songs got to do with these raisin cakes and cakes of raisins, which I think is amazing. So, hey, look out for Yosef the Real, man. That's all I got to say. The bro is in the studio, man, and creating the sounds, the vibration for the tribe to vibe to, man. So, hey, eat the squad. Hey, shout out to all the cons, man. Tribal music is on Coon. We on the rise, man. So, the children of Israel shall sit solitary. So, when you are in your sad state, right, you are in solitary. You don't have no king. You don't got no, forget providential anything. You're not even, you don't feel like you're being watched. You don't feel like you're being cared for anymore. You don't got no prince. Ain't no sacrifices of righteousness. Ain't nothing because you out of cold. But afterwards shall the children of Israel return. So they talking about you returning to Jerusalem or converting to what? You're converting to seeking. To seek is to desire. You're converting to desire. Your heart is being converted to desiring HaWah. HaWah. And David. You're now desiring David again. Because David is the shepherd that leads the flock. We have one shepherd forever. And this is in the end of days.